All right, and we are live with episode 8 of the Salt Mine. This is The Devil Went Down to Salt Mine. The Salt Mine is a Malifaux Twitch stream in which we basically just go through a game that I've recently played. Feel free to get in on the chat. Let me know what you think I did right, what you think I did wrong, whether I'm an idiot, whether I'm not. Love to hear from you. Really, the chat is what makes the stream, so please get on there. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you're thinking, and we'll get started. So this week's strats and schemes. We're looking at standard deployment. The strat was public enemies. The schemes were catch and release, claim jump, breakthrough, vendetta, and spread them out. So looking at the crews, I was taking Cornelius Basse. My opponent was Corwin, was taking Neverborn Lucius. So with Cornelius, I took Baby Basse, Nellie, 7 traps, Reichert, and the Pathfinder. My opponent took Neverborn Lucius, the Scribe, Agent 46, the Mature Nephilim with reflexes, the Lawyer, and 2 Changelings. Now, a couple things to note on both lists. The idea I had with my Basse Nellie list was that those traps, they're going to die. That's fine. If I can crowd them around where I want the fight to be, Nellie can do a large amount of damage with her Twisting Their Ideals attack. It's 1 damage for each marker within pulse 3 of the model you are attacking, so it could potentially do a lot of damage. My opponent's list, the first thing I notice is that Mature with the reflexes. I mean, he's already got, it's going to give him the ability to charge in and out of combat. It's going to give him the ability to charge through models to do 1 damage, which will let him get rid of those traps or other models very quickly. It will also set up a situation where, yes, you can only charge once per turn, but with the Lawyer, the Changelings, even potentially Agent 46 giving Mature extra actions, he could be taking extra charges. That's a good opportunity to just put some damage out there that he wouldn't be putting out otherwise. So, looking at the battlefield, we've got our main area. I see claim jump, so I automatically think the fight's going to be right around here. My opponent took the top here, I took the bottom. So my immediate thoughts are the terrain always creates, being a nice long piece of terrain, kind of a funnel here, and makes the edges a little less used. Decided to try to use that to my advantage. I also, looking at the list, I thought I could probably win the fight, so it was going to be a bloody one. I needed to take that Mature out if I was going to do so. Let's clean that up and we'll go to the next slide. So for schemes, again, I plan to try to control the middle with those traps. Mature can be a problem for that, but the fact is he's got nothing with Laugh Off. Nellie can move things out of the middle. Basse and almost all of my Frontier models have some ability to move models off that middle marker. So I figure I can probably do claim jump. As I want to put it on Nellie because I think that she can generally survive in space. I don't really have the actions to spread them out. I'd have to be in so many different places. It wasn't really realistic to me. I'm not going to try to do catch and release. I've only got Baby Basse or Pathfinder that would even qualify for it. And their chances of surviving even a single activation in engagement with Agent 46 was pretty low. And I didn't expect to be sending anyone towards Lucius unless he was coming into me. That left Breakthrough and Vendetta. I don't like Vendetta. Really the only option I think I had for Vendetta was Reichert on the Mature or doing something with the Pathfinder or Baby Basse, but none of those really I expect to survive long enough. Lucius just kind of has the ability to reach out and take a model off the board with his sniper, even if you're trying to protect them and hide them, and neither of those models really are going to survive that effort. So I decided not really to go for Vendetta. Leaves me with Breakthrough as my other scheme. Not ideal, but I figure I can try to make it happen with this crew using the forward deployment to help set it up. So what do I think he's going to do? I expect him to try to control the middle of that mature. The Black Blood, the Blade rushes repeatedly through the middle of my crew. It can be wipe out a clump of models very quickly. So I expect to see some of that. I also just see a lot of claim jump in general. It's a pretty common take. So I expect to see it here. The scheme marker schemes, he could probably do. I'm going to make that hard with Nellie and Basse. They both have abilities that can pick up scheme markers. But honestly, if he gets past, because I'm going to be a little bit forward, he could probably do those. I'll have to keep an eye on that, but we'll see what happens. So here's our deployment zone, our deployment setup. So if I remember right, I was the attacker, so I was deploying first, and I think he had me deploy Nellie and Reichert. So that was giving us Reichert here and Nellie there. And he set up, kind of put his main, basically like I thought the mature would be in a position to really threaten the middle, and he really was. He'd be able to get there with just one charge actor, he would fly with me and then charge. So he was going to be right in the middle of everything. Lucius, the Changelings, and Agent 46 over on the far end. I put Cornelius and Bernadette in a place to support those traps and hopefully support the middle. I figure first turn I can bring it on Nellie to bring her forward if I want without any real risk to Riker, which is a good deal, or to Bernadette. The traps I set up, like my plan was to kind of create that area in the middle to be very inhospitable. I probably should have spread them out a little bit in retrospect. I don't think they gained anything from being that crowded up, but it was one of those things where the concept, I think, was more appealing to me than the actual result would likely be. So, turn one, what ends up happening, I think we kind of turtle through some actions, me using some traps, him using some pass tokens to draw some cards, and then he advances the scribe around like this, thinking that I'll attack him with the trap. I think he thought it was a defense attack, not a move attack on the traps, which would let him throw some focus onto Lucius, which he always likes to do, without really much threat to him because they're just traps. But the trap stack moves, so the traps are actually able to take him out right there. He flies the mature over, takes out one trap. I attack the mature some, and I think I stagger it and put like 1 damage on it, but don't really do much else to it with that. The big happening is I run one trap up to engage Agent 46, who had gotten up to around there. He ends up walking around here and then disengaging, and I didn't really understand what was happening. I think he ended up using the fly with me to then take him down here to get Nellie within hidden sniper range. So Lucius activates and just lays into Nellie, getting her down to 2 wounds, really kind of putting her in a rough spot already at the end of turn 1. So Nellie kind of tucks in to try to rely on them for safety. I don't know that it was helpful, but I didn't really have something useful to do with her squeals to try to protect her because of the 10 inches off of Agent 46 that the hidden sniper could fire from. I think I tried, I don't remember if I had a chance to answer back with Basse or not, or Basse at all, but as you can see, no one's really hurt on his side outside of that scribe that's taken out. I do manage to summon another trap. Pathfinder moves up a little bit. I think that Pathfinder probably took a pot shot at the mature as well, but didn't really manage to do any real damage into it. So, end of the turn. I'm still expecting claim jump. I feel like he's setting that up pretty well. Probably breakthrough, because from where his guys are, they could cross the river and make it very hard for me to deal with. I don't really know what I'm going to do if he does that. So looking at turn 2. Turn 2 starts kind of with a bang and then calms down. One of the first things that happens is Reichert activates and goes into, or sorry, I think he got Agent 46 activated first. Agent 46 was able to do significant damage to Reichert, getting him down to like 1 wound or something like that, and putting him next to the mature. I'm able to use, sorry, I said Reichert, I meant Basse. I'm able to use Basse to pick up a high card. I think my hand was kind of crummy. And do some significant damage to the mature before the mature is able to activate and take Basse out. Now, no, it must have been Lucius that took out Basse, because Lucius was the one with the pass tokens on him. So I think I activate Basse, and then he's able to take him out with Lucius. I'm able to take out, because the mature is pretty damaged, between Reichert, the traps, and Baby Basse, I'm able to take out the mature. I protect Baby Basse, so I'm able to get that first point of public enemies. And then I run her to protect her in a cloud there, though I'm not able to block the line of sight from Agent 46. Nellie kind of runs back and heals a little bit. Lucius does tag her once during his activation, and is able to do damage to her, which allows him to get his vendetta. I think maybe she was at 4 wounds last turn. I had to recreate the map, so the wound count at turn 1 might not be quite accurate. I think she had 4 left. She gets knocked down to 2 by Lucius, and then she activates, heals back up, and runs away. But Lucius was able to, in that time, get his vendetta point for getting her to half wounds. So she runs back over to here. And my plan is to kind of bring her around to get claim jump and get her healed back up, because I know that for the later points she has to be at full health. Reichert's left at 1 point at the end of the turn, as is Agent 46. Pathfinder starts moving up to go try to do breakthrough for me, summons another trap in the meantime, and the traps start moving up to try to interfere with Lucius as well. So end of 2. I know he's got vendetta now. I'm trying to figure out what other scheme he has, because I don't really know. Since claim jump's not on the table with the mature, and I don't think he's got it with Agent 46, I start watching like the lawyer and the changelings, because I guess they could have it, but I don't really see a danger for a second skid that time. Having 2 on the strat, I know as long as I can keep Lucius from killing Nellie, I'm feeling. So I only have 1 at the strat at that point. As I'm feeling like if I can keep Nellie alive, it's going to be a hard game for him at this point. So let's look at turn 3. So turn 3, start of turn 3, we flip initiative. We both get the red joker. He's got a couple. He must have had Ancient Pact on the changelings, because he always takes on the changelings, because he had some +1s. So he wins that initiative flip. Very painful for me to see the red joker go in such a way. But basically what ends up going down is there's a bloodbath. Agent 46 activates first, kills Reichert, and I think a trap. Baby Basse is able to come in, kill Agent 46, and put up her cloud. I run the Pathfinder up into the corner to try to score breakthrough next turn. It takes him, unfortunately, a little more movement to get up there than what I needed to get breakthrough, which was a real shame. Though looking back on it, I may have been dumb. I wonder, this looks like it could have been a 5-inch walk and then a drop that just barely clips into the area, but I'm not sure about that, and that probably would have been the smarter move. So going back to turn 3, I run, as I said, I ran Pathfinder up there. I get Nellie towards the middle for my claim jump point, and since I hit the model that he used to kill my high point model, I'm going to get public enemies this turn. He's not. It's almost like that red joker ended up working out for me in the long run. I'm able to start getting some clockwork traps up into Lucius to slow down the entire hidden sniper engine to try to protect Nellie. Nellie's up to 10 wounds at this point. She's feeling pretty good. And I'm just looking at trying to hold on to this and get out of it. So, as I said, he's got his first for Vendetta already, so we're not worried about we're not as worried about that with him being at 10 or her being at 10 health. It would take a lot to take her out. Not that with those changelings he can't do a lot with the hidden snipers, but in this case it's really not a huge threat. I'm worried that he could have catch and release with the lawyer. Now, I wouldn't like catch and release on the lawyer because I find the lawyer too, once people start getting into him, that he dies pretty quickly. But it would be a real nice kind of catch me by surprise take late in the game. And since I had 3 models that you could catch with the catch and release, it was a danger that was there. So I was watching out for that. Didn't have to worry about it with the changelings because of their lack of engagement range. I also thought we were going into turn 5. And you'll kind of see how that plays out in the turn. So, turn 4, Pathfinder. You'll notice that nothing's changed for the Pathfinder. The reason why is I dropped a scheme marker, I focused. He ran the lawyer over here using all these obeys, and then used his own obey to make me pick up my own marker. He also hidden snipered me for a moderate of 4, which was quite painful. My summon trap, however, was able to put a little bit of damage onto the lawyer, which was nice. Nellie, I had started to move towards the middle, and then someone pointed out to me it was turn 4. My opponent pointed out to me it was turn 4. I ended up moving her in the other direction instead. She still took some hidden sniper shots, as you can see, between when I lost my one trap and I was able to get my other one in there. Bernadette starts moving up to try to help with the Lucius issue. The traps, they died. So there were a couple issues that they had. Black blood was a big deal. The Agent 46 was really able to tear through them. There were a couple times when he hit the trigger to jump to another model and hit it, and after hitting one of my bigger models, they were the only ones in range, so he would jump to one of those and usually one-shot them. The 2 up by Lucius, if I remember right, Lucius basically just beat them to death with his cane. A lot of times the changelings would obey him to help him do that, and he just would slowly, one hit at a time, take him out. So I end up still having 1 trap up there to slow him down at the end of 4. So no one's able to score public enemies that turn, which is a good thing for me. Nellie's lower health than I want her to be going into turn 5. I still don't have the breakthrough, which felt pretty bad, but going into turn 5, I didn't feel horrible. So going into the final turn, and as I said before, I thought it was 4 out of 5. I'm kind of in the same place where I'm like watching out for the lawyer on catch and release. I'm watching out. I'm not really worried about scheme marker schemes at that point. So turn 5. So what ends up happening, and it was really a smart play by my opponent, he moves his one changeling, and the lawyer, give me my pen, the lawyer was here, in kind of in a way that I could not get through there with Nellie. Now, I thought it was 4 inches to the middle for both, not 2, and since the middle is here, she can't get there with those 2 models there. Given the point situation in the game, I decide the lawyer's got to go. Nellie is able to, or the trap's able to do 1 damage to the lawyer, getting him down to 3, and then Nellie's able to hit him, to drop a scheme marker, and then hit him with a Twisting Their Ideals to finish him off. He was using the lawyer to draw the line of sight into Nellie. You're asking how was he drawing line of sight into Nellie? Early on, it was Agent 46. Then it was the lawyer later on when he came from up by the Pathfinder. So he got up on this bridge here and was giving a good line of sight from there. And it was pretty effective into Nellie. But again, that final turn, since I was able to keep him engaged, I thought I was actually going to kill him. I charged him with Baby Basse, and he only had 2 wounds left, and I had my plus flips at the time. I wasn't able to get the kill. I don't remember if I black jokered the damage or what, or maybe I weaked the attack and just wasn't willing to spend on it. But I really thought I might manage to take out Lucius on that final charge. But Nellie's just not able to get through there to get to the marker. I call claim jump. He says, no, you're not 2 inches from it. I find out that I was not close enough. So I don't get my second claim jump point. My opponent still only has 1 for Vendetta, though. And it's feeling pretty good. So that ends up being a 3-2 win. So my opponent, so his other scheme, before I jump into what I did well and poorly, the other scheme my opponent had was catch and release with the mature. Now, I think if I were playing this list, that's putting a lot of weight on the mature's shoulders. I like the mature in this list, but I don't think I could put all of that on him all at once. So it's a fun list. I've been wanting to try it to create that marker swamp, so I could do big hits all at once from where the traps had been. It didn't really work out that way because I had to run Nellie away from the hidden sniper attacks. It's funny, but it's probably not good. I can't believe Baby Basse scored both of my public enemy points. Some games she just does nothing for me, and some games she's an absolute killing machine. This week was a absolute killing machine week. If I had been smarter about the game, I would have had a good chance of scoring breakthrough. I didn't move on quite as fast as I needed to, but when he realized it was kind of child's play for him to deny it to me. Knowing the scheme spitter would have given me a chance at claim jump, I think. And again, it's been a little while since we played this game because we played it the week before Thanksgiving. But if I remember right, it was, I think we talked about different ways I could have tried to score it, and really there was no way for me to score that second point claim jump without risking him having catch and release on me. So predictions. I didn't see the catch and release coming at all. If he had pulled that off, he could have run him into my backfield, and I would have never been able to react. The Vendetta, I didn't even think about the fact he could do it to a master, much less target someone else. So it was a nice take. It really, he was going to be able to get it without putting Lucius in much risk. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, was that if I could get the pile of tokens going, I could do a lot of damage with her. I've actually pulled it off better, and I played another game with this same list, and she was able to do some bigger hits. But what ends up happening in these lists that I'm seeing is it puts a lot of weight all on Nellie's shoulders, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure her shoulders are broad enough to handle that. Um, so I got some good salt this week, and it's my own. I played a game with Landon the other night, and we realized that I cheated afterwards because we were counting the strategy markers as markers for Nellie's ability. Um, Again, it was for twisting their ideals, and I was doing 3 damage instead of 1 because there were 2 evidence markers standing there. Now, the FAQ says that, or the rules, of course, say that you cannot affect a strategy marker with a strategy marker with model abilities. But to say that in the FAQ that includes counting them, like saying, okay, there are this many within this area when you're counting markers. If that counts as affecting a marker, then why call them markers at all? I honestly feel like they called them markers, started having abilities applied to them, and then realized their mistake. And instead of fixing it within errata, calling them something else, they threw that FAQ out there and kind of created a really confusing situation for your average new player. And honestly, I've been playing this game for 7-8 years now, and without having the and I've read through the FAQ before, but without having it like carried on me at the time, I absolutely would never have seen it coming. If you need to read the FAQ to know what I'm talking about, if you look in the Bayou section, it's in reference to gluttony. That's where it says that targeting it, selecting it as the model to push towards for gluttony's ability, or counting, even count as affecting the marker. And I just think that's silly, and I feel like they did a bad job of managing that. Now, it feels kind of like sometimes with the FAQs, there are things that they wanted to fix in the rules, and they kind of, for unintended consequences in the rules, but instead of doing an errata to fix the unintended consequence, they try to FAQ their way around it. The situation with Ricochet and My Loyal Servant's another example of this. And I know that means you have to print less cards. You feel like you don't have to correct as many things if you do it that way. But it really just feels like a half-assed way of doing things, and I don't think that's a good place for the game to be. I feel like especially with the Ricochet My Loyal Servant rulings, if we had more frequent rules corrections from Weird, we really could do a lot more with that. So that's my salt this week. I was pretty pissy about it Thursday night, and I'm glad to have gotten it out of my system now. It is what it is. I want to talk for a minute. I know the Explorer PDFs have started going out. I'm not one of the recipients of those, so I'm not going to be able to talk about them. But next week, maybe we'll kind of select one model at a time and just talk about that model and what I think of it and how I think if I were going to use I'm only really going to look at the ones I'm going to use, which probably means we're going to talk about the Rough Riders, even though they've been out for a little while. We're going to talk about the Spell Eaters, and we'll talk about the Sandworm, because those are the ones you're going to see me play. If I play Explorers, it's probably going to be Basse, at least in the short term. And so some of the versatiles maybe I'll talk about. I definitely want to talk about one of the upgrades. I think it's going to work really well with this style of trap spamming list. But I'll have to see it on the table to see if it actually works. But maybe what I'll do is try to run a game that uses that tech so that we can then see what it looks like in effect on the board. So special thanks this week go out to my opponent, Corwin. Always a great game from Corwin. This one I didn't record during the game, and I ended up having to go back to him and say, hey, could you help me reconstruct this game? Because it was a blast. The Vendetta caught me by surprise. The tension of having to worry about the mature, that double red Joker initiative flip. Just one of the best games I've played in a while, and I really do have to thank him for that. The proprietors of the gaming club, the Historic Haven in Frederick, Maryland. It's a wonderful place, and I really do appreciate all the support they give me. My incredibly patient wife, she is constantly putting up with this. She was actually off tonight, so she's sitting in the other room hearing me scream into the microphone, Alex Jones style. And I do appreciate her for that. So if you want to talk more with me or any other cool folks, please come check out the Swamp Fiends Discord or the Guild Facebook chat. I'm sure there are other places to talk Malifaux as well, but those are the two that I'm going to be hanging out. If you want more quality Malifaux media, come check out the following podcasts. And we've added some new ones this week that I'm very excited about. Third Floor Wars, The Other Coast, Badlands Radio, Swamp Fiends, The Steam Powered Scoundrels, The Rage Quit Wire, Schemes and Stone, Capital City Crew, Harlefaux, Gaming with the Salty Slacker, Born Conversation, and I forgot to put on here, Flippin' Weirds are back. Please check them out. They're always a good recording, and I know they're going to be hitting the Explorers very hard this week, so check them out. They're going to be putting out some great material. Check it out on YouTube. We've got the Household Gamer, Geeky Villain, Dan Brown, Dmitry Urshov, TNG Productions, Intensely Relaxed Gaming, James Dyson, Guerrilla Miniature Games, and Skirmish Miniature Gaming. Spread the word. If you know someone that would enjoy getting on the conversation here, tell them about the stream. I want to talk with you all. I really appreciate Anderman, who I believe is Ambrose, and I apologize if it's not. I believe that's Ambrose, and I really do appreciate his questions tonight. I really do think those kind of questions enhance the stream. They help point out the things that I'm not explaining very well, and honestly, they make it more interesting. So tell people about the stream. The best way to improve it is to get them coming here, telling me what I'm messing up, what I'm doing right, what's making the game good or bad. So I will see you all next week. Have a great one. I hope you have a good rest of the holiday weekend, and we'll see you next week, Salt Miners. Take care.